Okay, everyone. So thanks for joining us for the Cerule Network Marketing Training. Listen, guys, the purpose of this training is very simple. It's to help you gain some footing with some basic concepts here in the network marketing industry that are going to help you build your business bigger, build it faster, build it stronger, and more consistently, so that you can actually earn an income here with Cerule. Listen, guys, I'll tell you this. I know a lot of people, the $1 million question for them is not, are the products great, because you already know that the products are great and that they're awesome. The $1 million question is, how do I take the things that I'm hearing? How do I take the things that I'm learning and put the pieces of the puzzle together to figure out how to earn an income? And whether you're looking to make $1,000 a month or $1,000 a week or even $1,000 a day, those principles don't really change. There's still some things you're going to want to employ, but there are some philosophies behind those actions that you should understand, because if you don't understand them, you're probably not going to commit long term. So more on that later. Guys, you can watch this video as many times as you want, but if you want to grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and reach out to me directly at the end of this because you have some specific questions, you can do that as well. So first, let's start with this, guys. What is the definition of success in multi-level marketing or network marketing? It hasn't changed. It really hasn't. Regardless of technology, the definition of success has always been the same, which is simply you take a large group of people, teach them some simple tasks, and you have them repeat those tasks consistently over a reasonable period of time. Large group, simple task, repeated consistently over time. That is how success is accomplished. The reason why I share this with you is because everything that you're doing, you want to be able to relate it back and see if you're being true to this definition. So if you're looking for only a specialized group of people, you're violating, right? You're shrinking down the size of the group, not enlarging the size of the group. Network marketing is all about the law of large numbers. So you're looking to do something that everybody can participate in, because the larger your group of people that can participate, the more people you can approach and the more successful you're going to be. If you're doing things that are complicated, even if they're simple for you because you have a certain talent or a certain comfort zone, if they're not very simple tasks that the average person can do with some basic training or basic instruction, then you should stop doing it, because it's never going to build and duplicate. And then if you're trying to convince people that they can do something one time and be rich, instead of consistently over time, you're not thinking properly about this industry. And again, realizing that it does take time. That's a big deal. So make sure that in whatever system you're using, you have an element in there of your training that's about personal development and about all these things that make people realize that they're going to want to stick around for a little bit to get the results of these simple tasks they're repeating consistently. Now, guys, the problem with the industry that you'll see is really this, and it's the reason why, even though everybody could be successful, everybody is not successful. And it starts like this. Let's just say that there's someone who knows 100% of the information that you need to be successful in the industry, and that's in any company, by the way. It doesn't matter what kind of company you're in, doesn't matter what type of product or service. There's always somebody who has 100% of the information, or the vision, or the verbiage, or whatever is required. But the problem is that the average person only retains about 7 to 10% of what they see or hear on a daily basis. But let's say you're not the average person. Let's say that you're a genius and you can retain 50% of everything that you see and hear. Let's say just on this one video right here, this one webinar, you can retain 50% of everything that you're going to see and hear. Well, that's awesome. And with 50% of the information, you can still go out and be successful. Sure, you'll make some mistakes, but you'll still be successful, because with 50% of the information, you're still far better off than people who have none of the information. Here's the issue, though. Even if all of your friends, all of your contacts are geniuses as well, let's see what happens as it starts duplicating down the lane. That's right. Everybody's getting 50% of the person before them. So this person has 25, this person has 12, etc. And this person down here only has a few percentage points of all the information. Here's the problem. That person thinks that they have 100% of the information. And that person thinks that they are qualified now, because they have 100% of the information, to go out and start teaching others and sharing with others. And that person does not know what they don't know, and they have zero chance of ever being successful in this industry, nor do the people who are working with this person and learning from that person. So for that reason, what we want to make sure you're doing is doing this, right? Not trying to say, hey, I got it, I'm going to go teach it right away, but instead making sure everybody plugs into the system. Everybody can plug in. They can watch these videos on their own. They can participate in the live webinars. They can get the information for themselves, and they can plug in over and over and over again. Not just you, but everyone in your team plugging into the same information at the same time, learning at the same speed, getting a higher level of retention, so that what's being duplicated out there is the proper information, not the information that's plagued the industry for so long, which is people thinking they know what they're doing, but they just don't quite know what they're doing through no fault of their own, right? It's just who they learn from, right? And they're going out there and they're spreading around how to do it wrong. The other thing is this, there's four types of knowledge that exist when you're trying to learn how to do anything, right? Including when you're trying to learn how to become a network marketer. First is learn knowledge. And that's what you're getting right now. You're watching this video, you're going to learn some concepts that maybe you've heard before but didn't understand the same way, or maybe you've never heard before and they're going to be very enlightening to you. But that's learn knowledge. The second level, though, is activity knowledge, which is once you learn something, you're supposed to go out and do it, right? So you learn how to do it, then you go out and do it, right? And as you go out and do it, you develop a whole new level of knowledge. For instance, we could teach you everything that you ever wanted to know. You could read every single book in the world, go to every internet web page in the world to learn about mountain climbing, right? But the fact is that the moment that you're actually hanging off the side of a mountain and you look down and you're 500 feet up in the air and you realize that if you slipped off you could die and the wind starts whipping up and it starts shaking you back and forth, you're getting a whole new level of knowledge that you just couldn't get in that book, even if it talked about wind whipping, etc. It's when you're doing it that you learn it even better than when you're actually sitting back and watching a video or reading a book. The third thing is modeling knowledge, which is where you say, listen, I'm going to go find someone who has what I want, and I'm just going to do what they do. If I do what they do, I can have what they have. It's a simple concept, right? And so getting a mentor, getting a coach, getting somebody that you look up to, or somebody you can learn from, a teacher. Right now, the great thing about the technology world that we live in right now is these don't even have to be people that you're able to touch and feel face to face. This could be someone where you're plugging into their webinars or conference calls or trainings. It could be somebody that you go to, you sit in the back of the room, you watch them conduct events. It could be somebody who wrote a book that you really think is very helpful, but you're modeling that behavior because you want to accomplish those results. And then the fourth one is teaching knowledge. Once you've kind of mastered something, and now you want to teach others, in order to really teach something effectively, you have to break it down to its base parts. You have to now codify it, and so you can explain it in a way that they're going to get. So even though you've been able to do it subconsciously, you have to really become conscious about all the different aspects of what it is you're doing. In doing that, you actually learn it even better. The problem with the industry is that everybody wants to go from learn knowledge straight to teaching knowledge. You want to watch this video and then you want to call together a group of your IBOs and say, hey, let me show you what I learned. Let me show you what we're going to do from this point on. But you haven't actually done it yet. So because you haven't done it yet, you haven't really mastered yet. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go from learn knowledge to activity knowledge, right? Once you actually do something, if you don't get the result you're looking for, you go back to learn more. So you're going to learn activity, learn activity, learn activity until you really get good at it. Once you really get good at it, you become worthy of being modeled. And as people are trying to model you, that's when you start teaching. That is how it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go, I watch a video, I hop in a webinar, I listen to a conference call, I'm going to call together a group and be the guru. That's why so many gurus aren't really good gurus, because they're talking about something they've never done before. They're just talking about something that they've heard about or that they've read about. So that's another problem in the industry we want to avoid. The final one is this. I cannot tell you how many people throughout my career have said, just tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'll do it if you just tell me what to do. Just give me the exact actions. And you tell them what to do, and they go out and they start doing it, and they don't stay committed to it long enough, and eventually they stop doing it, they start doing something else, or they simply quit. And the reason why that is because actions are not really the beginning of the success chain. The actual success chain works like this. It's your philosophies. It's what you believe and how you hold it. Those philosophies will drive your attitudes. Those attitudes you have will ultimately create your actions. The actions will ultimately drive to your results, and your results will create your lifestyle. So when you're starting off and saying, just tell me all the things to do and I'll do it, guys, what you're ultimately doing is you're starting at the middle of the success chain. Remember, there is no one thing that you can do in network marketing where you can do it today and you can make $1 million tomorrow. Okay, it doesn't work that way. The actions that you do, you have to remain committed to over a period of time, because it takes time for things to grow and for you to start getting that result of that geometric growth. So therefore, if your philosophies are not strong enough about why you're actually doing that action, you're going to do it for a little bit of time. You're going to say, oh, I've been doing that for a week or two. I'm not rich yet, so this obviously doesn't work. And you're going to change course and start doing other things. So even though you were on the right path and the right track, you didn't know why you were doing those things, and therefore you didn't stay committed to them. You got to get the philosophies first. That's going to change everything. Remember, it's impossible for anyone to teach you the proper action for every possible scenario you can run into. However, they can teach you the proper philosophy, and if you have the proper philosophy, you'll instinctively know what to do in weird scenarios that you run into. So philosophies, attitude, actions, results, lifestyle, that's a success chain. With that said, let's talk about the first conflict in philosophy that we run into network marketing, which is, should I go out with the sales approach or with the team building approach, right? You're a sales guy. You've got some tremendous skills and you want to go out and you want to sell the product. And why not? It's the best product on the planet. We know that, right? So I want to sell the product. I want to sell the product. I want to sell the product. But I also want to build up a big income as well. So I'm not just selling the product because, I'm just doing it out of the goodness of my heart. I know people need it and I'm doing it for that reason as well. But I also need to earn some money so that I can have the time to go out and sell more of the product. So you could go the sales approach, right? And you could simply say, hey, we're going to go out and sell the product. And I'm a superstar salesperson. I'm going to try to get 1,000 customers. Now, 1,000 customers at $50 in commissionable volume, right? That's 1,000 times 50, 50,000 commissionable volume. You're going to earn 10% off of those personal sales. So you're earning $5,000 a month, right? Or in that month that you did those 1,000 customers. If they're not preferred customers, you're going to have to sell another 1,000 customers next month if you want to keep earning that 5,000 bucks. The question I'll ask you is, how many people can really sell and get 1,000 customers? Especially how many people can do that in 1 month, right? And the reality about that is not only how many people can do that, but how many people can continue to duplicate that. Even if you were able to do that, could you actually teach someone else how to do it? And could you teach someone else how to do it on a part-time, spare-time basis, which is how the vast majority of people are going to enter into our company. You can show them how to get 1,000 customers with just a couple of hours a day and not intruding on their current life. Could you do that? Very, very difficult. I think if you're being honest with yourself, you know the answer is no. Now, the team building approach is a little bit different, where we're basically saying to the IBO, listen, only thing I want you to do, let's say in your first 30 days, is to find 3 people who love our products and they're going to become customers. Just 3. Now, these 3 people that we're going to find, they're going to actually become customers for 2 reasons. One is because they love our products, and 2 is because you're the one that's asking them to take a look. And that's a big thing, that last thing I just said, because that's what network marketing was really designed to do, was to basically help leverage your contacts and credibility, right? So you've got 3 people who are like, hey, my aunt or my uncle marketed these products to me. These products are great, they work, but because I'm getting them through my aunt or my uncle's business, I'm not going to go to Amazon and try to find it for $5 cheaper and buy it from there instead, because I would be hurting my aunt or my uncle's business. So there's 2 things happening. One is they're getting the benefit of the product, but 2 is they also have some loyalty to you. And we're only asking you to find a few of these people, not 1,000, not 100, but just a few. You can go out and get hundreds and thousands of customers later, but in your first 30 days, we just want you to find a few. The other thing is finding 3 people that are just like you, that for some reason they would like to earn extra income. More on what those reasons could be later. It could be a myriad of things, but what we're offering is we're offering Cerule as the answer or the solution to their financial problem or their time freedom problem. That's what we're doing. We're not offering it as a way for them to move products or this. It's a vehicle to get them from where they are right now financially to where they want to be. We find 3 people like that. So those are the first 2 steps. Find some customers, find a few IBOs, right? And the final step is then we're going to actually start working with them to help them start duplicating that in the next 30 days, and then the next 30 days, and the next 30 days, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Guys, that team building approach, I've already shown you. If you've actually plugged into any of our live presentations where we're doing business overviews, that can produce some tremendous results. Remember, no one person is doing a lot. IBO finding a few customers, finding a few IBOs, and then start duplicating that model. Well, we've already seen that produces over $24,000 a month. So more money than you would actually produce if you just went out and got 1,000 customers on your own. And the other thing is more consistent, because you're getting a few customers who are locked into you, so they're actually getting their product monthly. So now you're able to earn this income month after month after month. Again, this is a perfect theoretical, but you guys can understand the point here about just asking everybody to do a little bit, things they can do on a part-time, spare-time basis. They can develop quite a full-time income over time. Again, if we were doing this every 30 days, that would be over 7 months. People could do that. If it took them 60 days, it would be over 14 months. You guys get it, but still a little bit more than a year, and they're still at this $24,000 a month level. Guys, ultimately, the team building approach is going to be where you want to focus at if you're trying to build a business that everybody can do. And that's what it comes down to, because everybody can't do the sales thing. If they can, that's great and that's awesome. But if you're trying to build a big team, you want to keep this in mind, that big money always comes with big team. You go to any network marketing company in the industry, in the world, with any product or any service, and say, who are your top 5 biggest money earners? As long as that company's been around for a year or longer, so it's had a chance to mature, the top 5 money earners are always going to be people who have the biggest teams. And that means that the evidence is clear, right? Success leaves clues. That's a pretty big clue. The other thing you get, though, when you're building a big team, is you realize that just by everybody doing a little bit more, so you're able to get the leverage of everybody's efforts. So if you decide that, hey, instead of getting three IBOs, I'm going to get four, right? So everybody's going to get just one more than they did. Even though the one doesn't seem like a lot of work, when you leverage it across all the people doing it, you can see what it results to in income. So just to show you that, and again, this isn't me telling you, hey, so go out right now, you're going to make $153,000 every month just by doing nothing. Obviously, there's work involved. There's some systems involved here. There's a lot of support involved. Some of that we're going to talk about here on this video, but you get the point, right? By just doing a little bit more, you get the leveraging effect of building a big team. That produces a tremendous result for you. So guys, keep that in mind when you're thinking about why you want to build a big team. Big team and big money are synonymous. So now, obviously, you can't do these things, right? You can't build that big team without taking advantage of the power of duplication. Duplication, duplication, duplication. That is it. That's the rocket fuel for your business. Is when you have duplication, you're able to create momentum. You're able to create momentum. You're able to create a big team. You're able to create a big team. You're able to make big money. We already showed that. So it's going to be all about doing things and only doing things that are duplicable. When you step outside of the realm of duplication, that's when you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? Sometimes people cut off their nose to spite their face in this business. You always want to stay within this realm of duplication. So let me help you there for a little bit with duplication. Number one, keep this in mind. There are three questions that people are asking themselves subconsciously when you are approaching them about a business opportunity. Whether they realize it or not, these are the three things that are going in their head. Can I do what you just did? Right? That's a pretty important question, right? If you approach me and you give me some incredible presentation that requires, a PhD to give, or I have to be a doctor, you know what I mean, a medical doctor to be able to give that type of presentation, then when you ask me later, do you want to join my business? I'm thinking no, because I don't have time to go back to medical school. So if I can't do what you just did, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, do I have time to do it? So again, if you're giving a presentation that lasts 3.5, 4 hours long because you want to razzle and dazzle people and show them all these different things, then guess what? I don't have 3 or 4 hours to approach every person that I know, every person taking 3 or 4 hours to approach, just so they can potentially say no to me. I'm busy, I have a life, I have a full-time job, I have a family, I have hobbies, so no, I'm not interested in what you're doing. And then finally, would I mind doing it? So would I mind doing to my friends, family, and contacts what you just did to me? Guys, I've seen a lot of training that's out online. This is, I call it black belt training, where they say, hey, when a person says no, you block the no, you punch them in the throat with new information, and you just keep hitting them until they finally give up and say yes, right? Well, think about that for a moment. If you make somebody feel that uncomfortable, you make people feel that overwhelmed when you're actually approaching them, if you're that harsh on them, that hard on them, even if they end up joining out of pure self-defense, right, because they're tired of being beat up, they're not going to go out and do that to anyone that they know because they like their friends and their family and their contacts. So even though you're winning the battle, you're losing the war. So can I do it? Do I have time to do it? And would I mind doing it? If what you're doing right now violates that, then you're losing. Because here's what you want to remember. If you're talking to a person about being a part of your business and they decide to be a part of your business, then your approach to them in the beginning was already part of their training. People want to do the business the way that the business was done to them. So you can't do it one way and then tell them after they say yes and sign up, oh, don't do what I did with you. That's completely wrong. You need to do it a different way. They're going to want to do it the way it was done to them because it worked. It worked on them, if that makes sense to you. The other litmus test you can give yourself is this. Hey, does my system, does it work? Will it work 5 levels below me? Will it work with someone who's never met me? Will it work with someone who lives thousands of miles away? And will it work for a dud who's trying to do a presentation to a stud? And I know a lot of people, again, dud, stud, I'm simply talking about where people could be perception-wise, financially, or perception-wise in terms of knowledge. Basic, perfect example, you got a 19-year-old kid or 20-year-old kid who just got excited about Cerule, just got signed up, and the first person he thinks of talking to is his best friend's dad, because his best friend's dad has always been a successful entrepreneur, and he knows that if he can get his best friend's dad, that's going to really make his business rock. So he wants to go and speak to his best friend's dad. You live in Philadelphia, he lives in California, so you're not there for him. He's 4 or 5 levels down in your organization, so he's never even met you before. And guys, listen, the point is, does he have a chance? If what you're doing doesn't give that guy a chance, then you need to stop doing it, or you're never going to accomplish duplication, right? So those are the things you want to look at when you're thinking about. Now, here's the final thing that I learned that really clarified this for me in my brain when I was actually building out in the field. Everybody talks about finding leaders. So the persons who are going to become Cerule presidents and the Cerule chairman club members, that's who you're looking for. Well, here's what the industry says. Here's the statistics of what it says, guys. The average leader will appear between your fourth and sixth level, right? That's interesting because once you learn that, once you really embrace that and understand that, there's two things you understand. Number one is on average, you're not going to be the one recruiting your leaders personally, right? You're going to have to recruit someone who ultimately that one of those people they recruit, they turn into one of the leaders and they take off. But the other thing is, if you can never get down to a fourth to sixth level, you're never going to have any leaders on your team. Okay, again, we're just talking about averages. There are exceptions to the rule, but understand the point. If you can't figure out a system that allows you to duplicate deep into your organization, you're never going to find the people that are ultimately going to take this seriously, like you're taking it, who go to work that ultimately provide the leverage and the financial freedom that you're looking for you and your family. That's why you want to be able to build a business that duplicates, and you want to build a business off a simple task that everyone can learn. Now, the final thing is remember this, it's a volunteer army, right? We've all heard this term before, volunteer army. Most people don't know what that means. They say, well, it's a volunteer army. That means that we don't pay these people a paycheck. It's not like a job where you work an hour, get paid for an hour. We only pay for production, right? So, because it's a volunteer army, you can't force anybody to do anything. So because you can't say, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to fire you, or you're not going to get your paycheck and get suspended from work, because you don't have those things that employers have over employees, right? You have to find out other ways that people are motivated. You have to really start to understand people because you are in the people business. So here's some things about people that you might want to understand. Number one, people don't join companies, people join people. That's a big deal. A lot of times people are spending all their time trying to figure out, like, how do I make the company sound better? How do I make there's lots of companies and there's lots of great companies, right? But people ultimately, their ultimate decision on joining a company is, who is the person that's approaching them, or how is the person that's how is the approach working, or who are they connecting me with, right? Those are the things that will determine whether they join or not. More on that later. The other thing is, people buy emotionally, but they justify through logic later. So a lot of times people feel like, hey, my big deal on how I'm going to get people to join is I'm going to just overwhelm them with all these facts and these figures and blah, 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 blah. Guys, that's not actually how people make decisions. They buy emotionally. 30 days in, they want the logic to justify why they actually did it, but that will not be the number one determinant factor for most people. I'll say there's an exception to every rule, but for most people, it's about an emotional response that was triggered in them that made them make a determination to buy. Third is that fear of loss is a better motivator than anticipation of gain. And all these things I'm telling you right now, I'm going to show you how they really start working in as we start doing this training and future trainings, about how they work into the system and why the system works the way that it does. And then finally, people spend more time moving away from pain than moving towards pleasure. That's a big one to understand, because so many times people say, well, hey, the way to get to really, really be out there and go and get people is to simply show them that they could be driving a big car and fly, have their own plane and living in a mansion on the beach. Well, those things are all impressive, right? But here's the reality. Why is it then that the people who really want those things, they don't just join network marketing companies and all go get those things? Why is it then people join and they still quit? Well, it's because you're trying to move them towards pleasure and not away from pain. So the proper system will put people in touch with one of their pain points and show them why they want to get away from it. And that will motivate people much, much longer than moving towards a pleasure point. I just want to point that out to you. So guys, you're going to want to train your brain. You're going to want to spend as much time as you can plugging into these videos, into these live webinar trainings that we're doing, to learn these things, because as you learn more and more of them, it's going to actually make you a killer. It's going to turn you into a ninja out there, for real. You're going to really start to learn. Once you really understand these philosophies, this will actually get to a point for you when it's easy, right? When it's easy. There's an old Jim Rohn would always say, don't wish things were easy, wish for more skills, right? Because if it was easy, that would mean it was easy for everyone and it would have no value. But as you learn more of these skills, it will become easy for you, which will actually make you very valuable in the marketplace, because other people don't have the skills, so it's not easy for them. So let's talk system, and then we can wrap up the video. So this is a system that has worked all the time in network marketing, and it will continue to work, because if you think about it, it's just conceptual. It's not about all the different details about whether you're using technology. If you have to make a list, is it your Facebook list? Is it the list you have in yourself? It's just make a list, expose the people in that list, follow up with those people after they've been exposed, and then sort them based off of their response. Now, what a lot of people is new to a lot of people is this last one. A lot of people think it's list, expose, follow up, and close, right? But it's really not that. It's list, expose, follow up, and sort. Because at the end of the day, you never know if a person is going to be interested or not, because you don't know what the timing is like for them. So everything could be perfect, but the timing could simply be off, and therefore their answer is no, which could really just mean it's no for now, because it's no until the timing is better. Even though they might not say it like that, it's just no for now. Your job is to become a professional. Remember, amateurs convince, but professionals sort. So all you're trying to do is make a list, expose those people as quickly as possible, follow up with them as quickly as possible, so then you can sort them as quickly as possible and keep moving through that process. The people that master this are awesome in this business. The people that struggle with this, who my job is to explain it and try to convince everybody, or I'm afraid to follow up with people, or I'm going to expose a person once every 6 months, those people, they're going to struggle. You're not going to make the check that you want. But if you want to make a bigger check, list, expose, follow up, and sort, and do it as quickly as possible. In terms of building your list, guys, whether you purchased our success system or whether you can download it from your back office, it's there for you if you want to download it. We have list building things back there where you can make the list, you can get people's contact information, and you can keep track of where you are with them in the follow-up process. And if you're having a problem or struggling to remember some people, we've got a memory jogger in there for you as well. So pretty simple tools that we put together to keep you on track. Now, the most important things about your list, number one, don't prejudge, right? Don't assume that someone is 100% not going to do it. Everybody deserves an opportunity to say no to you. That's how I've always looked at it. I'm going to give everybody a chance to say no. Even in the process of them saying no, I'm going to show you in a second how even when they say no, it can still be a good thing as long as you expose them in the first place. The second thing is this, is the 5-star rating system. A lot of people will say, hey, let's say I make a list of 100 names. How do I contact them? Do I just start calling from the first person on down? Well, you might get lucky calling from the first person on down, but you also might have accidentally or just subsequently put the top 10 people on your list up top who are going to say no to you. You know, people who really don't want to do it. So you talk to those first 10, and for a lot of people, if they got 10 no's in a row, they'd say, oh, this doesn't work, and they're blown out of the industry just like that. So what I've always taught people to do is go through each person on your list and rank them from even 0 stars to 5 stars. We're still going to call everybody. We're still going to reach out to everybody. But this just gives you an idea of who some people are that might be more likely to be open to your opportunity right now. So the 5 questions you ask about each person is, number one, can they afford it, right? I mean, you can get started here for as little as $49. If $49, however, is a backbreaker for them, like they just can't scrape together $49, then it might be tough. Even if they like everything they see, they can't afford it. Number two, are they dissatisfied with something? So if these are people that you know and they've recently told you, I wish I was making more money, or I wish I got more recognition at work, they don't appreciate what I do, or I wish I had more time to spend with my kids and to pursue my golf game, they're dissatisfied with some area of their life. Those are people that are looking for something. We're looking for people that are ambitious. Okay, so we're looking for people that are looking for more. A person who's completely settled into where they are, everything in their mind is perfect. They don't have a lot of ambition to move forward or to gain more. Again, that's not a person who's going to be completely open to something. Or do they have a good self-image? Remember, we're in the people business. So in the people business, you're going to ultimately have to interact with other people. So if you have a low self-image or low self-esteem, that's going to be a struggle with you. So that's why we ask that question. And number 5, do they like you? Right? Even if the other 4 were true, they had the money, they were currently dissatisfied and looking, they were very ambitious, they had a great self-esteem, great self-image, but they don't like you, right? Then they might not want to work with you. They might want to work with the company, they just might not want to work with you. So all 5 of these questions are critical. Now, if the answer is yes to all 5, that's a 5-star person. If only 4 of them are yes, that's a 4-star person, etc., etc. You rank them in that order, and then you call your 5-star people first, 4-star people second, etc., etc. Everybody gets reached out to, or call or email, however you're reaching out to them, but this gives you a higher probability that you'll get some yeses sooner in the process, which if you're new to the industry, that's incredibly critical to have these little successes that get you fired up and keep you moving forward. Now, how do you approach people? There's a lot of different ways you can approach people. We've got some great scripts for you in our success system, but here's just 2 other approaches that you might want to think about. One is what we call the 3-part script. The reason why I like it is because it's very simple and it answers a lot of people's objections right up front. Something I want to show you. You may or may not be interested, but it's only going to take a few minutes. Somebody might say, well, hey, tell me about it. Well, I just, like I said, it's something I want to show you because it's very visual, so you need to see it. Okay, well, I don't know if I'm really open to anything right now. Hey, that's great, because because like I said, you may or may not be interested, but I guess you don't know until you see it. Well, I don't really have a whole lot of time. Hey, that's awesome. That's why I told you it's only going to take you a few minutes. You'll know right away if you're interested or not, and if you're not interested, you don't have to watch the whole, you don't have to continue to watch. Listen, when can I get you in front of a computer? And the reason why I'm using this as an example is just to say that we are going to get into this idea of making sure that the way that we're actually exposing people to the business is with a third party tool, not with you actually talking and saying it. Because remember, even if you give the best presentation in the universe, can I do what you just did? Do I have time to do it? And would I mind doing it? Okay, so you might give the best presentation in the universe because you've been in Toastmasters for 25 years. You then say to me, do you want to do this? And I'm thinking, nope. I've never gone to Toastmasters. Public speaking terrifies me. I can't do what you just did. So third party tool, third party tool, third party tool. That's going to be critical. So in today's environment, I might say to someone, listen, how's the coronavirus affecting you? I know a lot of people are really afraid, not just about the health impact, but also the financial impact because they can't go to work. What's happening in your household? And they say back to you, we don't know what we're going to do. I don't even know if I'm going to have a job when it's time to go back. And you say, okay, great. Well, listen, I thought that might be the case, and that's the case for a lot of people. So, listen, there's something I want to show you. You may or may not be interested. It's only going to take a few minutes, but I think it might be something that can help you. Are you in front of a computer? Or when can I get you in front of a computer? And then I would just actually go out there and send them a video, okay? Now, the other way you can do is the solution approach. When you actually know something that is a pain point for somebody, so a way that you can help them, a way that we can actually kind of step in and be a solution for them, you can use that in your approach. You can say, listen, John, when you said that you were worried about not being able to cover Mike's tuition because he's graduating from high school in 2 years, were you serious, or were you just kidding around? Well, you already know that if they told you that, and they told you that in all seriousness, they were serious about it. So when you ask that question, you already know what the response is going to be. Yeah, I was serious about that, man. He wants to go to Harvard. We don't know what the financial aid situation is going to be like. I mean, we can't right now. We just can't afford it, so we're not sure how we're gonna resolve that. And you can say, hey, that's what I thought. I thought you were serious. That's why I'm calling you, man. I think I may have found your solution. Hey, listen, are you in front of a computer? Right. So this is a great way to approach them, and whatever their concern is about working a second job or whatever, you can approach them with, I think I just found your solution, and then ask them if they're in front of a computer, because then you can send them a video. And again, I'm using a video as an example of a third-party tool. The third-party tool can be a video, a webinar, a conference call. It can be a lot of different things, but the point is, it's not you trying to explain it to them. It's a third-party tool, because remember, you're training them right now on how they're going to do the business if they decide to get started. Can I do what you just did? Yeah, I can ask somebody something, ask them two questions, and send them a video. Do I have time? Sure. It took me 30 seconds to do that. Would I mind? Sure, because there's nothing overbearing or aggressive about this approach. So you're falling into all of those things in terms of how you're doing their system. So you send them a video, and then you simply follow up with them after they've had a chance to watch the video. So here's the follow up and sort process of this, and then we'll wrap up. You know, John, he was serious about the tuition. He wanted to see the video to see if that would help him find the tuition he was looking for his son's school. He watches the video, and I get back on the phone with him, and I ask him this question, just like this. I don't say, hey, did you like it? Or hey, are you in, or whatever. My question is, what did you like best about what you just saw? In other words, I said, what did you like best, not what did you think? Because if I ask him what he thought, there might be some pieces he didn't like or he didn't understand. He's going to focus on them. When I say, what did you like best, I'm almost forcing a positive response. Okay, so there's a lot of psychology in that question. What did you like best about what you just saw? Now, John says, because he was looking for college tuition, let's say, he says, the money. I mean, I saw that pay plan, that whole idea of building up a business of leveraged income. That would definitely work for me, man. If I could get even half of that 24,000 a month, or if I could get a quarter of that, that would be the money we needed for the tuition. So that would be very exciting to me if I could do that. And my response is, John, I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly who we're looking for. People that are looking to make some extra money. Now, let's say he had said the products in a different scenario. Maybe he wasn't worried about college tuition, but he said, hey, I like the products. My response is, John, I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly the type of people we're looking for, people who are passionate about our products. Guys, it doesn't matter what their response is. Your response is, I'm so glad you said that. That's exactly what we're looking for. And you repeat back to them what they just said. Here's why. We're looking for all of those people, number one. But number two, people love to be around people like themselves. So when you say, I'm so glad you said that, that's exactly what we're looking for, and you repeat back their answer, what they just heard you say is, This is a great company composed of people just like you. And that is a huge thing for people to open them up to say, that's the type of group I'd like to be a part of. So remember that. The second thing you're going to say to them after you've said that is, so, John, listen, do you see an opportunity for yourself? Now, here's what I want to tell you. Guys, a lot of people after watching one video, they're not just going to be like, I'm in. It does happen though, but that's not a lot of people, right? It's probably about 10% of the people. About 80% of the people are going to want more information, and about another 10% of the people are going to say no. So it's not likely that he's just going to jump right in, although he could. But the reason why you're asking that question is because you're trying to get to be able to sort him to figure out where he is so you know how to deal with him. He can only give you a yes, maybe, or no. So, John, do you see an opportunity for yourself? If he says yes, I'm going to sign him up. I'm going to sign him up, and once I sign him up, I'm going to get him on a three-way call with somebody in my upline organization to welcome him to the team. The reason why I want to do that is because I want John to know right away that it's not just me and him against the world. There's a whole organization of people out there that are going to support you. That makes people feel good, and it makes them feel better about the decision that they just made. And then I'm going to conduct a game plan interview with John. Now, we're going to train on game plan interview in our next training, but it is a way to get him off to a fast start, to let him know what he should be targeting right away. And it's also a way for me to get to know him and to know what motivates him and what he's looking for, so I know how to better work with him. Now, the other thing he might say is maybe, which is what most people are going to say. Well, I don't know, Brad. In broad strokes, it sounds good, but exactly how do I do that? I mean, how do I actually, build that type of team, or move that organization? I don't have any sales background, any sales skills. Great, John. Tell you what I want to do. I knew you might have some questions, because you're sharp. I figured you probably would. So I've actually talked to somebody on my team who's actually a lot more experienced at this than me, and I know they can actually answer that questions because they've had a lot of experience with the pay plan. So let me get you on the phone with them, and we can both hear the correct answers at the same time. Now, here's why we're getting John on a three-way call. It's not because I don't know the answers. Maybe I know the answers to all the questions he's asking. But here's what happens if I answer all his questions. Let's say he asked me 15 questions. I give him 15 perfect answers. When I'm done, he's now thinking, okay, so before I can approach anybody, I have to know the answers to all the potential questions. So he signs up, but then he doesn't do anything because he wants to study for 6 to 9 months, right? That's not what I'm looking to accomplish. I'd much rather get him on a three-way call with someone, my expert in this case. They answer all his questions, and then I can tell John after the call, hey, John, listen, if you decide to work with us, just remember, you can always get insert name Mike on the phone, and just like I got you on the phone with Mike, and they can answer all those questions for you as well, so you don't have to worry about trying to know everything. You're just becoming a connector, connecting your people with questions to the people with the answers. That is something that John right away says, I can do that. So if he does get started, he's not paralyzed. He feels like he can go out and start approaching people right away because he knows there's other people who have the answers that have his back. Okay. Now, on a three-way call, let's say Mike does a three-way call with him. At the end of the call, Mike is simply going to say, hey, John, now that you've gotten all your questions answered, do you see an opportunity for yourself? He can say yes. He can say maybe. He might say, hey, that all sounds good, but can I get that information in print form? In which case, we can send them more information. Or we could get the third possibility, which is, do you see an opportunity for yourself? No, honestly, I appreciate you sending it over to me, but I don't think that's for me right now. Now, when somebody says no to you, they know that that's not what you were expecting, and they're thinking that when they say no, you're probably going to not react well, so they kind of get closed off, and you want to open them up again. So when they say no, your response is great. John, listen, man, I appreciate you even taking a look at it. I mean, it was important for me that you take the time to look. Maybe it's not what you're looking for. I understand, but at least you took the time to look. That's what I like about you. You don't make decisions without getting the information. John, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for doing that. That is not the response that John was expecting. But when he gets that response, it opens him up again. Now he's relaxed because he thought you might be upset. You weren't upset. So now he can basically open up again. And at that point, you say, so, John, listen, though, I know this isn't for you right now, but let me ask you a question. Now that you know what I'm doing, who do you know that might be interested in making an extra $1,000 a month, $1,000 a week, or who knows if this thing really works out for him, even $1,000 a day? Do you know anyone like that? Guys, I cannot tell you how powerful that question is, because not only will that make John maybe reconsider his decision because he wasn't thinking about it like that, but the other thing is, think about this. Your goal, your whole dream was when you sent the video to him in the first place and you said, do you see an opportunity for yourself? That he was going to say yes. And if he said yes, you're going to sign him up. He's going to make a list and he's going to start exposing people on his list. Well, if he says no, but he still gives you access to the people on his list, don't you still win anyway? See, you can build a massive team off of people who say no. You don't have to be afraid of no's. It's just how you handle the no's. So, who do you know? Important question. He gives you some contacts. Now you can actually go on and you can actually still continue to build your business. But even then, you want to ask John a final question. John, thanks for the people. I'm going to reach out to them. I promise I'm going to expose them the same way I expose you. So I'm not going to do anything that makes them feel bad or anything like that. But hey, listen, as things start happening for me, who knows what's going to happen for you in the future? Do you mind if I keep you informed? Everybody says yes to that question. They always say, "Yeah, Keith, let me know how things are going." So when you start showing them pictures of your new car that you have with the Cerule logo on it, that might change their mind. When they start seeing pictures of you in Hawaii on a Cerule vacation, that might change their mind. If they see you on a gondola in Venice on a Cerule vacation, that might change their mind. So again, keep them informed, let them know what's happening for you, and you'll be amazed. People's timing does change. It might be a no now, but it might be a yes later. That's why you don't make them feel uncomfortable. You don't do anything to make them feel bad, because if you did, even if they change their mind and decide they want to work with Cerule, they're probably going to decide they want to work with Cerule, but they don't want to work with you. So this is the perfect way to go through this process. Remember, amateurs convince, but professionals sort. And the better you get at this, and the better you can teach this to your team, the better it's going to be. The fortune's in the follow-up, guys. So follow up, follow up, follow up, and that's where you're going to achieve your results at. Lastly, here, guys, I want to remind you that recruiting is a process. It is not an event. Okay, so there is no one video that people are going to watch and they watch that video and 100% of the people just sign up as soon as they see that video. If that was the way that it worked, we wouldn't actually have to go out and sell nutritional supplements and skincare. We would just sell the magic videos. We could sell the magic videos to every other network marketing company out there and we'd all be billionaires, right? So some people, you will show them a video and they're going to be in right away. Some of them might need some more information, so you might put them on a three-way call. Some of them want to actually get together and see a meeting, so we might do a private business reception, which could be on or offline, probably online in this environment that we're in right now. Some might want to come to a live meeting, where they want to see a bigger presentation. Again, we can come to a larger webinar. And some people actually want to go through training. They want to see the training process to understand if it's a training system in place that's going to really teach them how to do this. So your goal is to say as little as possible, or to give them as much information as necessary. So either way, people always say, hey, how much should I say to a person to get them to sign up? As little as possible, right? But as much as needed. So if you called somebody on the phone and said, hey, this is Mike, and they said, Mike, I don't know what you're calling about, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm in. That's it. You don't say, well, I got to make you watch a video first. You say, great, let's get you signed up, right? That's almost never going to happen, but you get the point. Now, if they watch the video and at the end of the video they said, I'm in, I'm in. You don't say, well, hey, before you sign up, let me get you on the phone with my upline. No, you sign them up. Then you get them on the phone with a three-way welcome call, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, as little as possible, but as much as necessary. That's how you're going to do this. But it's a process, not an event. Sometimes you got to walk people through the entire process and then continue to follow up to get it done. Guys, the last thing here is this. 10 core commitments. And this is just really a preview of what we're going to be doing on future trainings, guys. I always want to show people what the real recipe is, that you can have action. These 10 things that if you can commit to and have the people in your team commit to, you're going to have a building, thriving business. Number one, every single person who joins your team from this point on goes through a game plan interview. Again, that's going to be the next training that we do. Number two, every single person, you're going to help them launch their business with either a private business reception or a private conference call. So we can do these online. The private business reception could be a private webinar, a private Zoom call, etc., or a private conference call, where maybe because of the technology limitations, they would prefer to do everything on the phone. It doesn't matter. We're launching everyone's business. We're not starting it. You start a car, but you launch your business. So that's going to be critical. Number three, we're going to get everybody into this goal of 1K in 30 days. If they go 1K in 30 days, they can make all their money back, which is a good motivator for a lot of people, that they can make their money back. They can get started at the $299 level, go 1K in 30 days, and make back $400 or more, right? And we're going to show that formula to you in a subsequent training. So that's going to be important. Once you get everybody doing this, is coming in, they get a game plan review, you help them launch their business, which will subsequently help them go 1K in 30 days. Then we come down to the daily method of operations, which is you're going to want to expose 1 to 3 people a day And I'll go into more specifics about that. It's actually 5 days a week. It doesn't have to be every day of your life, but just exposing a couple of people a day, very very simply. We just showed you how to expose people. Attend a weekly presentation, attend all training events, stay on auto ship. I'm going to explain to you in a subsequent training why that's important for you. Get a workout partner so you're not doing this business on your own. Practice daily personal development so you are constantly becoming a better version of yourself. Remember, people don't join companies, they join people. So the better version of yourself you become, the more appealing you're going to be, the better at this you're going to be, the faster your team's going to grow, and then you're going to stick around and make sure you're here a year from now. I will tell you something. A lot of people might say, well, I've already been here a year, right? I've already been here 2 years. I've already been here 3 years. Guys, it's being here a year from now, having done all of these things. You do all of these things I just said for 1 year, you will not believe the level of success that you will have in this company. In fact, if you do all of these things for 6 months, you will not believe the level of success. Just imagine what that would do to your team if you and everyone in your team were doing all of these things over the next 6 months, right? But be here a year from now, get your people to commit to be here a year from now so they can get the benefit of doing all these things. That's where the big success is going to come from. So with that being said, guys, the way we're going to end every training, I always want to give you my email address for those of you that want to comment on the training. Or there's some things you might want some clarity on, or some things that you think you might want to see in some future trainings. That's what I'm here for. Send me an email. Let me know what that information is. If you need me to contact you back, when you send the email, include your phone number as well. And also just let me know what time zone you're in, so I'm not calling you at an odd hour, and that'll be awesome. I'll definitely reach out and we can definitely connect. Guys, with that said, thanks so much for actually taking a look at the training, and I look forward to the next training with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys become more and more successful here in your Cerule business. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.